Hi everybody, welcome to Story Time at the Johnson City Library. Today we're reading one of my favorite books, Dr. Seuss's If I Ran the Circus. Oops. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half-hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. There's just 2 or 3, and then the whole place would be ready, you see. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the greatest show on the face of the earth or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the crop. The Circus McGurkus, the Circus Supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. What a big night, what a big night, what a big sight. I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowd will come in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin, with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn by my horn-tooting apes from the jungles of Jorn, where the very big, best horn-tooting apes are all born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs, and some of these fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right up. This way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus as a Circus McGurkus. Here on stage 1 from the ocean of Ulf is a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf, who can stand on 1 whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on the top of 5 balls, 2 tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here's something quite new. From a country called From comes this drum-tummied snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his tummy-tum's numb. And you'll now meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, he who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes 'em red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Sneelock's one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. On stage number 4, see the Wily Walloo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. With a flip of the hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock, I'm sure he won't mind. And now here is Hoodwink, who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The show of all shows, there's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Brigger Barut, the world's sharpest shooter. Look at him shoot through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. And then threw a crabapple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now come to the spot where the spotlight is hot. And you'll see in the spotlight a juggling Jot, who can juggle some stuff you might never think he could, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and youngsters and olders, your heads will quite likely spin off of your shoulders. So hurry, step quickly, quick, ladies and and get into your seat. In my tent of all tents, my parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock fling-flang his baton, and my Argon McGorgon Gorkus come on with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all types of snorts in its bumbling din. That is super stupendous, stupendous, stupendous. And when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Then a fluff-muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line a fine flummox will shuffle. A flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a fiddle will carry the flummox's tail. While on top of the flummox 3 harp-twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs in their 3 snarpered harp. While a bolster blows bloops in a 3-nozzled blueser, a noser blows foot in a 1-nozzled loser. And then comes a lion who's partly a trout. Then more stuff for 45 minutes about. And then behind him, while everyone stares, comes my to and fro marchers who march in 5 layers. The fros march on 2s and the 2s march on fros. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No farmer performance performed this performance. This stunt is too grippingly, slippingly, frighteningly down from the top of my tent like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big stickler brush trees. Slides a man, what a man, on his roller skis, and he'll steer without fear, and you'll know in a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. And now here, in this cage, is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as a spotted atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs about 60 pounds, and he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly, and slap him around. Then he'll slap him down fastly and pin both shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it, I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure Trainer Sneelock can certainly do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I fly in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number one, with an aim that's aims true, spouts a spout that spouts Sneelock to whale number two. And then whale number two spouts his spout like a gun, and that spout spouts old Sneelock back to whale number one. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout-riding Sneelock gets spouted about, just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage, that's his job, not mine. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds that he has a big circus behind. That's a pretty good book, don't you think? See you next time.